and welcome to Healthy You. My name is Shenita-Ann, and I will be your host today, bringing in vegan chef and holistic health coach and caterer, Miss Brandi Redo. Miss Brandi, how are you?
I'm well, Shenita-Ann. Thank you so much.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks for joining us here today. Would you like to tell us about your recipe and what we will be preparing?
Yes, today we're preparing a vegan chili. And one great thing about this chili is that it's super easy,
Yes.
versatile, and delicious.
Oh, wow. Those are some awesome goals to have for this meal during the winter. So, Miss Brandi, would you like to give us kind of the background and health benefits of your ingredients here?
Yes, absolutely. So I developed this recipe because I was looking for something that was a one-pot dish that was really easy to prepare and something that my family really never gets tired of. So one of the things that I mentioned is that it's versatile, and you can use this chili in so many different ways. You can make chili cheese baked potatoes, you can make chili cheese wraps or just chili wraps.
Yes.
You can put it on a chili vegetarian dog. So there's just so many different applications for this recipe.
Wonderful. And I hear you talk about this is good for your family. Walk us through some of the ingredients, the health benefits of these ingredients here, and let us know how we can make it for our family.
Yes, absolutely. So today we'll be using 2 tablespoons of olive oil. We're using 1 white onion that's been chopped already.
Okay.
And you can substitute a yellow onion in this recipe if you prefer. We're using 3 tablespoons of chili powder, 1 tablespoon of smoked paprika, but you can substitute cumin in this recipe as well if you prefer to do something less smoky.
Good to know.
We're using 1 tablespoon of salt, 1 tablespoon of raw sugar, and of course you can substitute any natural sweetener that you prefer, whether it be agave nectar, maple syrup, or honey.
Okay.
2 tablespoons of garlic powder, and of course you can substitute fresh garlic if you prefer, and that would be 4 cloves in that case. We're using collard greens today. Collard greens have amazing health benefits, and they're one of the missing ingredients in most Americans' healthy diet. And so you've heard a lot about kale greens, but collard greens boast a lot of those same nutritional properties, including iron, vitamin K, your vitamin A. They really are another superfood, and a lot of people don't know how to use them well, so I like to incorporate them in this recipe as well. We'll also be using some shredded carrot, 1 cup of zucchini diced, 2 cups of black beans, 2 cups of kidney beans, 2 cups of pinto beans, 3 tomatoes diced. Today I'm using a canned diced tomato. It's an organic canned diced tomato. So, yep, and I like the canned tomato because it includes a lot of juice, which is going to give our pot that pot liquor that you're looking for.
Got it.
Lots of good flavor. We'll also be using 2 cups of corn, 1 teaspoon of cayenne, and that's to taste. So if you don't like it too spicy, you can cut that down a little bit or leave it out altogether. And then we'll be using 2 tablespoons of cilantro, which is also optional, and we'll garnish our chili with some scallions.
Got it. Well, that was definitely a mouthful, but it'll be full of vitamins and full of deliciousness.
That's right.
So let's get started, Brandi. That way we can get this chili going.
That's right. So Shenita, what we're going to do is we're going to start our pot on medium-high heat. Would you turn it up for me?
Sure.
And we're going to add our olive oil to the pot and let that heat up.
All right, that's the first step. Get our oil nice and warm.
That's right.
Okay.
Okay, so that's about 2 tablespoons. We're going to get our onions, soften them a little bit, and we're going to add our spices after that.
Got it. Okay.
Oh, we want to hear a sizzle.
Once the onions hit the oil, we have to hear the sizzle. So that's kind of...
The oil's not ready till we hear the sizzle.
Got it. So that's the
right.
surefire way. So how did you stumble on this recipe while we're getting our oil?
Yeah, so this is actually my recipe, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
So I have 2 boys, and you know, it's sometimes hard to get kids to eat vegetables.
always hard to make kids eat vegetables.
Yes. So my philosophy is not to make them eat vegetables, but to help them to like vegetables by incorporating them in dishes that I already know that they like. So for instance, if I make spaghetti, I make sure to put tons of vegetables that they normally wouldn't eat in that spaghetti, such as eggplant and shredded carrots and things like that. I cut them tiny, 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 and that just boosts the nutritional value of the spaghetti or lasagna or whatever it is that you're making.
Good point.
And the great thing that I find is when I put the eggplant in or when I put the diced zucchini in, my kids go back for more and more, and I just sit there and grin, and they say, what's up, Mom? And you know, I'm just like, well, you must like eggplant a lot because you went back for 2 or 3 servings.
Tricky. But I love it. Hide the vegetables and the foods that the kids love.
Yes, that's the way to do it.
So I'm hearing some sizzle, Miss Brandi.
I hear it sizzling too.
You hear it? So as we're getting our onions in there first, you said those are going to get softened.
We're going to soften them just to let them cook just a bit.
Okay. And do we leave it uncovered?
For now, yeah. So
Okay.
we're going to move them around here and let them heat up a bit. And while they're heating up, I'm going to add my spices. Now, I'll tell you a little bit of something about spices. A lot of people are really afraid to use them. So, you know, you get your spice jar and you kind of toss it in there a couple times. This is chili, and so chili powder really is the thing that makes it a chili.
Got it.
And so you can't be afraid to use your spice.
Got
so we
it.
have 3 tablespoons of chili here, and that's going to give it a lot of good flavor. And
chili and the onions.
Yes,
Just giving
chili
it
and the
flavor.
onions,
All
yeah.
right.
And as I mentioned before, the recipe calls for cumin. Sometimes I use cumin, sometimes I use smoked paprika. The smoked paprika gives it kind of like that smoky barbecue flavor, and I like that.
Smoky barbecue, yes.
Yeah.
This is all what chili is about.
That's right. So I'm going to toss that in there too. And I'm going to add some garlic powder. And again, you can use fresh garlic if that's more your thing. And we're just going to mix these spices together. Now, garlic powder doesn't burn like fresh garlic does. So you can add it at this phase. But if you're using fresh garlic, you may want to wait until you have more vegetables in the pan.
Good to know. Okay. Wonderful. Yes, and we can definitely smell those spices.
It does smell delicious already.
Yes.
Yep, and taste is partially smell. So if your food is smelling good, you can almost bet that it's going to taste good as well.
Wonderful, wonderful. Now, while that's getting nice and warm, tell us a little bit about your journey.
Yeah.
Going through what you've been through.
Yeah. So I became vegetarian when I was 16 years old. I just felt like eating a plant-based diet was really the healthiest way to be. And so I've been through lots of different, dietary changes. I started off vegetarian, eating a plant-based diet, which included eggs and cheese.
Yes.
And then I adopted more of a raw diet, which I loved. But, you know, the preparation time, preparing food could take a long time, and so that wasn't really the most convenient lifestyle. And then for many years, so I started off vegetarian when I was 16, and when I was 23, I went full-fledged vegan. And
Got it.
Yeah, and I was vegan for about 15 years. And just more recently, I've adopted more of a pescatarian diet.
Pescatarian.
Yes.
Okay.
And so let me tell you a little bit more just about my philosophy.
Yes.
So I believe that people shouldn't be defined by the food that they eat.
We are not defined by our food.
So actually, I'm looking at my pan. Let's turn the heat down just a little bit, and I'm going to add a little bit of water just to moisten the pan here.
Yes.
Okay.
And what gave you that cue? So when our viewers try it.
Yeah, so the pan looked to be drying out just a little bit. So I just want to moisten the pan with a little bit of water here. And then I'm going to go ahead and add our collard greens. So collard greens are a green leafy vegetable. As I mentioned before, they're rich in vitamin C, vitamin K, also calcium. This is what they look like. Most people are not familiar as much with collard greens as they are with kale and other types of greens. So this is what they look like. I remove this stem and I chop them very finely, and so that's what we have here in our bowl. Okay.
Yes. So as our viewers are adding more plants into the diet, collard greens have often been used as a side dish, but we are going to have this in our chili as one of our main ingredients. So I'm excited.
And like many greens, like spinach and kale, when you cook chopped greens, they shrink down quite a bit. So this is another ingredient that, once the chili is composed, you really don't notice it in the dish. So this is a way to kind of sneak in those greens without feeling like you're eating a bunch of fiber. I'm gonna add our zucchini here. Give you that. Just gonna mix that in until they're coated in the spices.
So we have so far onions, greens, spices, and zucchini.
Yes, that's
with
right.
Very little water, and may I tell you all, this just looks like it's going to be so delicious already.
Okay, I'm going to add just a little bit of our natural sweetener. So the sweetener kind of cuts the bitterness of the greens. And I'm going to add our salt here.
Okay.
Now I'm not going to add all of it. We can use some for taste later.
Yes. Okay.
All right.
And I see none of the ingredients are sticking. Like, what should our viewers look out for when they're making this dish? A few things you've learned or trial and error. What advice would you give them?
Yeah, so this dish is inherently low in fat. It's going to serve 8 to 10 when we're done.
Okay.
So there will be 8 to 10 servings. So if you want to, you have some room to add a little bit more oil if you want to moisten the pan with more oil.
Okay.
Or you can use water to continue to kind of steam those vegetables. So that's kind of the most important thing, is monitoring your pot to make sure that it's not too dry and that the ingredients are not scorching.
Yes, yes. And that's a very, very good point, because oftentimes, people may have their pot here. And how big is this pot, would you say?
This is about a 6-quart pot.
6-quart pot, a nice deep pot. And when you get those ingredients down to the bottom, I see you're stirring it. Was it a continuous stir, you think?
So you're just mixing to make sure, and I just added my carrots there. You're just mixing to make sure that all of the ingredients get a good dose of that chili powder.
Got it.
So you want to make sure that all of the flavors are being incorporated as you're preparing the dish.
Yes.
So I'm really just stirring to mix, and then I'm letting it kind of heat back up. And as and the other thing is, as I add ingredients, sometimes the pot cools down a little bit. So you're just kind of listening for that sizzle. You don't necessarily need to turn it up, but you don't want to stir it too much, because you want that heat to be able to reach all of the ingredients as well.
Got it. Got it. Keep that heat on there and let all the friends get in there mixing together. I see some different colors going on.
Yes.
And Miss Brandi, you've had over a decade of experience. So what about this colorful dish you think our viewers should know?
So I've been a health coach for over 15 years.
Yes.
And so I'm working with people in their kitchen, teaching them knife skills and teaching them life skills, really, how to have a well-balanced life. And one of the main ingredients to a well-balanced life is color, whether it be in your food or in your home. And so I believe in cooking with a lot of colorful foods, because colorful foods represent nutrients, and those are valuable nutrients that keep you healthy and young and vibrant.
Oh, wonderful. And speaking of young and vibrant, our dish here now, I'm noticing the carrots look like they're trying to bend and curve. They're getting in there.
Yes, they're softening up.
They're softening up.
Yeah. And so you want to give these vegetables some time to cook and really get those flavors in. We're going to add our beans in just a minute. I used a pre-shredded carrot. I'm actually going to give you that dish. I used a pre-shredded carrot because it just makes it that much more fast and fast to prepare. I've only really chopped very few ingredients here. The collards, the onions, and the zucchini were the things that that I chopped.
That were chopped ahead of time and prepared for this chili. And you mentioned those life skills can be knife skills. So
that's right.
When we're looking at those skill sets and when using the knife, we got to use some fresh ingredients, some fresh vegetables to get those knife skills in.
Yeah.
Any advice how people can get more fresh vegetables in their home, in their bodies?
Well, one of the important things that I just mentioned is that it doesn't necessarily, have to be that you chop every ingredient. So there are bags of pre-chopped collard greens. I used a pre-shredded carrot, so those are some kind of shortcuts to this dish. Generally, when I make this at home, it takes no more than 20 minutes prep time, and that's because I heat up my oil and then I start chopping my greens. So you don't necessarily have to prepare everything ahead of time. I would suggest maybe the first couple of times that you make this dish, just having all of your ingredients pre-chopped so that you know the timing of everything.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. Now that's very good advice, so we can begin to multitask and use those shortcuts if you can. Pre-chopped, pre-cleansed vegetables are always a great source, especially for busy moms, busy dads,
that's right,
busy uncles, busy everyone. Just get those fresh vegetables in.
If it's a matter of getting the pre-chopped or not eating them at all, definitely every time get the pre-chopped.
Got it. I like that.
Yeah, so I'm going to add my beans here. So I have 3 different types of beans. Black beans.
Black, okay.
Now, if there's one bean that you prefer over the other and you only want to use one bean, use only one bean. But I like, again, a variety of different colors. So I'm using black beans, pinto beans, and red beans, or kidney beans they're sometimes called, because they look like your kidneys, and they also support that organ.
Okay, wonderful.
Beans and greens give the body a lot of fiber, which is something that most Americans are not getting enough of. They also have very valuable nutrients. And so, as most people know, fiber is really important for kind of soaking up water in your system and helping you to stay full longer.
Okay.
But also helping to pull toxins out of your body. And so, so these beans are rich in fiber and they help you to stay full longer. They're also a really good source of iron. Both the beans and the collard greens are a great source of iron as well. So if you tend to be lacking in energy or having, experiencing a little bit of cold in the wintertime, these are foods that are going to warm you up.
And oh boy, don't we have winter. This 2018
That's right.
first season of Arctic chills.
That's right.
Will bring this dish into your home, leaving everybody feel warmer.
That's right.
With those irons going around, getting your blood cells oxygenated. So this is something I want to try this winter. Oh.
And we're going to try it in a little while once it's done as well.
Got it. I'm excited.
So I'm going to add our tomatoes here. I used a canned diced tomato because they have a lot of juice in them already. So you don't have to keep diluting your pot by adding extra water or oil. And then I'm going to add some corn. This was frozen corn and it's now thawed. Of course, you can add it frozen too because the pot will warm it up.
Sure. And our beans, those beans were fully cooked. Now, how do you usually, any quick advice you have on cooking beans?
Yes. So these beans were fully cooked. They are organic and the can was BPA free.
Okay.
And so I feel very comfortable using canned beans because they're so much quicker than cooking beans from scratch. One thing that you want to pay attention to with your canned beans is that you strain all of the liquid from them, and that you rinse them.
Strain, rinse.
And the reason for that is, as you know, beans have a bad reputation for giving people gas, right?
Oh, boy.
And so by rinsing the beans, you're rinsing all of the excess sugars from them, and those sugars are what gives us that gassiness. And so you're rinsing the sugars, and what I recommend is that you rinse them until the water stops forming bubbles on top.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because those bubbles, if you leave them, they go right into your stomach, and you know what happens then.
Gas in, gas out.
That's right. You got it.
That is such a great tip. And we put our tomatoes, our beans.
Yeah.
And now, how do you like to just let this chili go? Is it the same heat? Is it uncovered, covered?
So what we're going to do, we have one more ingredient to add just now. We're going to add our cilantro. We're going to mix that in. And then we're going to listen for just kind of a rolling simmer here. So you want it to start to kind of bubble just a bit. And in order to get it to do that, we're going to actually cover it up.
Okay.
And we're going to let it kind of come to that rolling simmer. And then we're going to reduce the heat to low. Doesn't that smell divine?
Just divine. I don't even have words right now talking about filling just off of the aromas. Now, Miss Brandi, I know we're letting this simmer. Is there usually a good time frame, or we definitely want to come back and check it?
Yes. So we're going to bring it to that simmer. We're going to turn the heat down, and then we're going to let it simmer for 10 to 15 minutes and just let all those flavors incorporate all of those good seasonings and spices. I have some reserved cayenne and salt that we're going to just kind of use to flavor the pot to taste once all of the vegetables are soft.
Yes.
And everything is ready to go.
Yes. Now, how simple. We have everything going in, and we are going to let this simmer, get comfy in that pot, so I can get comfy in my tummy. We'll be back for a quick break.
For years, scientists have explored remote corners of the earth, searching for exotic substances that might help prevent cancer. At last, man has discovered a secret place where powerful remedies can actually be found. Medical research shows that a vegetarian diet rich in fruits, vegetables, and whole grains can help prevent many types of cancer. Wherever you live, cancer prevention is as close as your grocery store. To learn more, call 866-906-WELL.
And we are back. I hope you enjoyed your public service announcement. We're going to jump right back in with our vegan chef who has prepared for us a wonderful vegan chili, Miss Brandi Redo. So how are we doing?
So it looks like our chili is done, Shenita-Ann.
Awesome.
And so if you want to remove the top, I'm going to go ahead and spoon it into our dish. We have a couple of things to add still. We have a little bit of salt to taste and a little bit of cayenne pepper. We're just going to stir in there. I like my chili spicy. And this time of year, it's really good to add a little spice because it actually helps to boost your immune system.
Our immune system. That spice gets our blood flowing.
That's exactly right. Yes. So we're gonna go ahead and try our chili. So we're gonna spoon it into a bowl so we can see what it looks like.
Oh, look at those colors.
Yes, isn't that beautiful?
It smells delicious.
Okay, and then what you can do is you can garnish it with a little bit of scallion. And if you, oops, they kind of went flying everywhere. So a little bit of scallion, and I like to have a little bit of cheese and sour cream on my chili.
And that's the way chili is meant to be enjoyed.
I agree. So we're gonna add a little, this is actually a vegan cheese that I found at the health food store.
Yes.
Of course, if you prefer to have a vegetarian chili, you can just use regular cheese, shredded Mexican blend, and then this is just a little dollop of sour cream, a little bit of vegan sour cream that we can enjoy it with, and that's what it looks like. Isn't that beautiful?
How delicious does that look with the vegan sour cream and vegan cheese? All of the chili expectations that we have. So you have to try this recipe.
That's right.
You have some other options there.
That's right. And just going back to the first option, if you want to have it with a few little whole wheat crackers or chips, that adds a little something to it as well. But I have a baked potato that I pre-baked. And so it's nice to have a chili cheese baked potato from every now and then. So usually what I do is I cut a little wedge of that out.
Okay, and you take that right on out of there.
Yeah, I take that out of there. And then you just kind of squeeze it to open it up a little bit more. Make a nice little bowl for your chili.
Yes.
And then you can add your chili to that as well.
Yes.
I'm left-handed.
Well, no, that's very interesting because that looks like a whole meal right there.
That's a whole meal, definitely.
You can probably have that for dinner and...
And add your little, cheese first, yeah?
Okay.
Let that get melty in there.
Yeah, now that vegan cheese would be really good with that potato too. Okay.
And a little bit of sour cream.
Wonderful.
And scallions just make everything so pretty.
Got it. Pretty
Isn't that beautiful?
and delicious. Oh, wonderful. That is just... Now you have one more option there. Now I think this one will definitely be a kid favorite.
Yes.
What do you think?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And so this is a veggie dog.
Veggie
and a
dog.
beautiful veggie bun and veggie bun. And you just add a little bit of chili to that, and you have a chili dog.
Oh yeah, don't be shy. That's my son
Nice.
say, don't be shy, Mom.
Toss that right in there, and I've served that with a cucumber chips. So we have a chili dog with cucumber chips. So very veggie-rich meal.
Yes.
Yep. And of course, you can add a little cheese to that if you like.
Okay. If you like some on your chili.
Isn't that pretty?
We have officially
3 different ways to serve your vegan chili.
How beautiful is that? Miss Brandi, please let our viewers know where they can find you, learn more about these great recipes.
Yes, absolutely. So I have lots of recipes that are my staples, my regular go-tos, that I prepare big dishes like this that you can have throughout the week. And that's really my specialty is meal planning, because I find that when you've made a commitment to a certain lifestyle, whether it be vegan, vegetarian, pescatarian, flexitarian, whatever tarians, whatever tarian you decide to go with. And remember what I said when we were talking before, Shenita, vegetarian, vegan, that's a type of food, not necessarily a type of person. A lot of people adopt a vegan lifestyle or a vegetarian lifestyle, but anyone can really enjoy a beautiful, vibrant, plant-based, rich, nutrient-rich meal, right? And so these are recipes that really are going to appeal to your non-meat eaters and your meat eaters alike, because they're made with love and lots of flavor in mind.
The flavor is just jumping through
to
our viewers. And this is my favorite part of the show. Now we are coming down to our tasting. We are going to have a bite of this delicious vegan chili, just so you know that you have to try this recipe and how great it is. Thanks again, Miss Brandi, and cheers to our wonderful vegan chili. I'm actually gonna have mine without the cheese. I do want some scallions though. And wait for me, I'm moving too slow, huh? That's okay, because it'll all be worth it. Oh, it's hot, but I'll be careful. But how delicious. Again, Brandi.
And it has a little kick to it, huh?
Oh, a big kick. But that's okay. This versatile meal, change it up for your own taste buds. Miss Brandi, let the viewers know how to find you one more time.
Yes, so you can follow my blog. It's lifewithspice.com. So www.lifewithspice.com.
Yes.
And there I have all sorts of tips on lifestyle, how to spice up your life in general as well as your food, and just incorporating those healthy habits.
Wonderful. Just like this chili, we all need a little spice in our life.
That's right.
So I am, again, wonderfully enthused to be with you all today. My name is Shenita-Ann with Healthy You. Check out our website for other recipes and episodes at www.healthyyoutvshow.com.
It's worth it.
Oh, yes. And also you can reach us on Facebook, facebook.com/healthyyoutvshow. It has been a pleasure giving you all this wonderful recipe, and I look forward again to seeing you all very soon.
Thanks, Shenita.
Thank you, Miss Brandi. Thank you, viewers. Let's have some more.
Yeah.